Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts. And so this is pre-market prep for Friday, May 2nd. I have to say I'm pretty happy that it's Friday because I'm looking forward to the weekend. And yeah, I'm just going to be going over the usual tickers here. I will also be going over the SPXU because I did pick up a small position in that yesterday. Just kind of wanted to go over the levels, why I picked that up. But anyways, let's start with UVIX. That is the 2X long VIX futures ETF, which did close yesterday on Thursday, May 1st at a price of $43.40, being down 2.76% on the day. And, it looks like pulling back a little bit more, a little over 1% down to around 42.86 in the pre-market. I'm going to just go over these real quick just because I got to get headed to work. But this does look like it is pulling back and settling out maybe around $40 a share. And maybe this is a good one to hold over the weekend. I'm not really sure. Personally, I don't have a position. I have been waiting for a test of 42 down to 40, and those levels have not yet been hit. It looks like the low for yesterday was 42.02, so just 2 cents away from my dip by level. And let's just look over at the 10-minute time frame so we can look at that. And it actually does look like it hit 42 during the pre-market yesterday. I'm actually surprised I didn't mention that, but it's probably because I was at work when that was tested. My order wasn't filled. Bounced up to around 44.63 before getting rejected from that yellow line there at 44.42, pulling back down to a low of 42.02 during market hours right before close. And then it did move up into the close, holding those gains before gapping down into the pre-market. So, will be very interesting to see where this goes and if 42 will be tested during market hours. But yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. And you might notice that I have not been doing these shaded boxes anymore. And that's just because from the top here, it's been, more than 3 weeks pulling back. And so usually I do those on a 2-week time scale. And we're just bypassing or extending the red down phase before, getting some moves up. So we'll have to see. Maybe next week is going to be a volatile one, though. It will be very interesting to see. Then looking over at the VIX, this is the market volatility index or the fear index. This closed yesterday at a price of 24.60, being down 0.4%, hitting a low during the day of 23.30 and testing that line there at 23.76. Also getting below 24. Maybe that is going to act as support before it goes back higher, and that is going to be based on the high from September 6th, and that was the high or the next high following this pullback from August 5th. Did act as resistance over here. Got a couple fake out breaks over here before this really big launch, and then now maybe that's coming back to act as support. So we'll have to see. I suspect whether it's the VIX or the UVIX, I suspect it will be going up next week. And talking about the comparison between the two, maybe I want to look over here at the volume. Does look like pretty low volume on yesterday, the Thursday the 1st, versus the bigger red candle here. So I feel like maybe that suggests that there will be some more fading lower, but we'll have to wait and see. And then now let's look over at the SPY. This is the S&P 500 tracking ETF, which closed yesterday at a price of $558.47, being up 0.71% on the day, but then going up about 0.5% in the pre-market, currently trading around $561.62. And so this is actually the reason why I opened up a small position in the SPXU, which is 3x leveraged short the S&P 500. And the reason for that is, there's this gap up here at 564.52, and that is based on the closing price from over here April 2nd. And we did not fill that gap yesterday. Actually, we hit a high. I don't know if you can see it up there. It says 564.07. but I had an alert placed at 564, just thinking, before the gap gets filled, or if it doesn't quite get filled, I'll just have that alert go off. And since that alert did go off, let's see, quit that. Since that alert did go off, I decided to pick up some SPXU, thinking that, maybe the SPY could go higher. And then I could add to my short position, but maybe it doesn't go higher. Maybe this is the top, and now I am a little bit short, so I am in good shape there. And so let's see over here. The SPXU closed yesterday at 23.01, down 1.92%, but then it looks like it's down a little bit more, 1.35% in the pre-market, trading around 22.70. And so we could see the low from yesterday was 22.31. That is basically, where I was alerted. I picked up 6 shares, so a pretty small position, a little over $100 on the table. And I picked up a small position at 22.35, thinking that, this could be going back up to, maybe actually this might be acting as some resistance. So let's see, that is, 10% move to the upside about. If we get up to the highs over here, that represents about a 30% move to the top side. And then if we go back to the highs over here, that would be about a 60, 65, 70% move to the upside. So a lot of potential there. And my position's not very big, so I can very comfortably add to it with the amount that I do have on the side. But if, it doesn't go lower, then, I am sitting pretty, looking forward to seeing where this takes us. Let's just look over at the 10-minute time frame here, looking at this SPXU, and we can see that, did dip down at 22.31 during market hours, and that was the low relative to the pre-market and after hours trading from yesterday. And then into the close, it looks like got this really big candle going up 2% into the close, and then holding those gains, actually hitting a high in the after hours yesterday of 23.29 before gapping down into the pre-market. And now we're trading below $23 a share. Will be very interesting to see where this closes the week. But generally, this has faded lower, and it does look like there's a nice little hammer candle there at the bottom. That does suggest to me that this could be a bottom, and that we see the SPXU, the short S&P 500, going higher, whereas the SPX, which is the S&P 500 index, closed yesterday at a price of $5,604.14, being up 0.63% on the day. This one did not hit my alert, hit a high of $5,658.91. It looks like I had an alert over here, but that was at 5,670. So about $1.09 away from hitting that alert, which is, unfortunate, but, the SPY alert did go off, and so I did pick up that short, but maybe the SPX, maybe the S&P 500 continues higher into the weekend, although, it just seems like inverted hammer candle there, wick to the top side following this move up. It seems like it might be getting rejected, so that's kind of where I stand with that. But then looking back over at the SPY, we can kind of see the volume here. And big move to the upside, nearly filling that gap, wick to the upside with the inverted hammer candle there. Lower volume relative to on what we saw on Wednesday, on April 30th. So that makes me think that what we're seeing here is a potential topping signal. So I feel pretty good about that short position, but I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, if I was early, then I will just add to it. And there are other short positions that I could have opened, like the SQQQ for going short the NASDAQ, or let's see, SOXS, which is the semiconductor short index, but I just wanted to focus on one. I follow the SPY every day, so I thought the SPXU made most sense for me. But then now, having looked over at those indexes, let's look over at Bitcoin here, currently trading just below $97,000. Looks like we hit a high yesterday of 97.5, somewhere around there. And we're more or less holding those gains after the big move yesterday, going up about 2.5% on the day. But now we might be seeing a little bit of a pullback, and I could actually see it do something. I can do a green arrow here, maybe. I could see it do something like this: pull back, test that 95 level as support before then going higher. Let's see how that arrow looks. I'm going to actually redraw that because I want to get a nicer arrow on there. It would be nice if Webull just took the drawing and ran with it rather than having to, like fix it to whatever points and stuff. But yeah, there's kind of the green scenario would be a pullback before continuation higher after having formed that bull flag, just like over here. But we do have this potential CME gap down here based on the closing price around 5 p.m. Eastern, I believe, on Thursday, a couple Thursdays ago for Good Friday. And so actually that would be 3 Thursdays ago, since yesterday was Thursday, not the previous Thursday, the Thursday before that, before Good Friday, around 85,000. I feel like that's the worst case scenario, maybe a dip to around 86,000, but I think that's pretty unlikely considering that we have formed what looks like bull flags have broken out. Just need to get a little retest before continuing higher to around 104, 105. So I'm feeling pretty excited about Bitcoin, also Ethereum, which is currently trading above 1,800 now. Did not have as big of a move yesterday, or doesn't look like it was as big of a move yesterday. It did go up 2.2%, whereas Bitcoin went up 2.47%. So yeah, a little bit more for Bitcoin than Ethereum, kind of bumping into that orange trend line that I have. I believe that goes back to, let's see, that goes back kind of far in time, so I'm not going to scroll all the way back there. Actually, I'll just do it real quick. The weekly time frame that is based on the all-time lows. Or not the all-time lows. that is the lows, the pivot points over here, going back to the lows from 2020 March, and then also the lows over here. This was June of 2022, and so we are now back there, and it looks like it's acting as resistance, but maybe we get a break above and then a move to 2,000 would look really nice. I think, though, that this could be getting to 3,000 or maybe back to 4,000 in the coming months, and I think that by the end of the year it could potentially be getting up to around $8,000. And then here, looking real quick over at Doge, currently above 18 cents. It did get a nice little move yesterday, and this one actually performed better than Bitcoin and Ethereum, up 4.81%. But since it is a meme coin, it is a more volatile coin. That not too surprising that this did go up about double Bitcoin or Ethereum. This does look like it did break out from this kind of downtrending level of resistance here with that big move up, consolidating. Maybe we see it move higher, and I feel like the next level will probably be around 20 cents, corresponding with the tops over here. So we'll have to see about that. Maybe I'll just mark a line there right around 20 cents, and maybe I will just adjust that to 20 cents. So we got that level marked there, and I might actually, hey, we did pull back to around that 786, so maybe there's something there. But I was thinking, I might just remove some of these levels here so it's not such a cluttered chart. We just have that 786 on there. And let's see. I'm just going to make sure that that is marked to the highs and the lows. 8.052 cents, correct there. And then the top, 48.463 cents. So it looks good there. And but we'll have to see about 20 cents. And let's see here. I am just going to now go over to uranium, ticker symbol URA. The global ex-uranium ETF went up about 1.25% on the day, closing the day at 25.31, going up a little bit more, about 1.25% in the pre-market, currently trading around 25.63. The high during market hours yesterday was 25.60, and if we look at this kind of got like these two spinning tops here, move up red, pull back, move up red. And if we look though, a thing that's maybe a little bit encouraging about this is that volume has been increasing. So maybe that does suggest we will be getting to around $26, going a little bit higher, but then I would expect a little bit of a pullback, whether that's just to around 25 or maybe 24.50, or if we do break lower, as this yellow doodle suggests, coming down to around 23. Yeah, I mean, let's see, what are we looking at over here? So this is still a lower high relative to the high that we hit on March 20th. Lower high, whereas we have a higher high in the RSI. That is bearish divergence, actually hidden bearish divergence. And so that could be suggesting that we do see a little bit of a pullback. I say at least to around 25. And so that is a little bit of a pullback, but not a terrible amount, not to 23. But maybe that does happen. Find a lot of support there here with this kind of consolidation that we found. Also this not double bottom. Yeah, I guess a little bit of a double bottom there. So yeah, I mean, I think that this could be doing what that yellow doodle suggests. And then finally, I'm just going to pull up BOIL. This did go up almost 7% yesterday on the day, and this, I should note, is the 2x leveraged long natural gas ETF. Closed yesterday at a price of $59.48, up almost 7%, pulling back about 40 cents in the pre-market down to around 59. And so this one here, yeah, I mean, I am still waiting for this to get alerted based on these levels down here. I believe I got one at 40 and then the other one at, I believe, 36.90. Just having fun with numbers, nearly getting to this gap fill here that's at 36.03. And I think that's actually why I wanted to be alerted right around there. See that gap get filled and then go long. And I'm not going to pull up the natural gas chart because I got to get headed to work. But I wanted to leave you with that. And, as always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And I will be doing another Crypto Corner tomorrow, so make sure you tune in for that. Take care, have a great Friday, and a good start to your weekend. See you later, guys.